Good evening, everybody. I will call the special meeting of August 7th, 2024 to order. Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you please call roll?
Bilski.
Here.
Here. Vincent. Here. Foster. Here. Madden. Here. Harry. Here. Silver.
Here. Because I suspect many of the people in this room are here for item number 5, we're just going to skip around and cut right to the chase and get to that. I will make a motion to confirm the appointment of Michael Roberts as Orange Village Police Chief. Is there a second?
We'll second it.
Oh boy.
Fighting over it tonight.
Take your pick, Anna. I don't know. Are there any, Mayor Klein, I assume you want to comment on this?
I do. Thank you very much. Members of council, I've submitted Mike Roberts for your confirmation as Chief of Police for the Orange Village Police Department. In every way that I know him, he is the absolutely perfect candidate for this role and will lead this department into its future. Mike has been a police officer since 1994 and joined the Orange Police Department in September of 2001. Prior to that, he worked for the villages of Moreland Hills and the village of Bentleyville, where he got his start. He's a graduate of the Lakeland Community College Police Academy. He's also attended the FBI Great Lakes Leadership Seminar in 2017. Mike has served in every role that the Orange Police Department offers, aside from chief. Now he has that to his credit. He credits his time as the patrol division as the most impactful in his pursuit of leadership mastery. Mike subscribes to a theory of lead, mentor, coach, and he lives that mantra in everything he does. He served as a detective for Orange Village from 2002 until he was promoted to sergeant in 2007, and then promoted again to lieutenant in 2019. Mike says, this is his quote, "If his father was still with us, he would remind everyone that Mike's been greasing the skids for promotion since his high school job, a lube stop, where he was named Luber of the Month."
Twice.
But twice. His duties as Orange Police in the police department include police liaison and security coordinator to Orange Village businesses and corporations, police department public information officer, writing press releases and speaking to the media, newsletter, website content officer for the police department, field training supervisor, helping to train all the new Orange Village police officers. He has served with the Valley Enforcement Group in a number of different areas, first as commander of the Enforcement Group's Missing Persons Unit. He's a certified Level 2 hostage negotiator and a member of the Enforcement Group's hostage negotiation team. He's a member also of their aviation unit, where he admittedly, due to constraints on his time, to fly remotely piloted aircraft during large-scale incidents such as hazmat, motor vehicle crashes, disaster areas, and SWAT incidents, as waiting for Chief Rizzo to fire him from the unit. Security Director for Pinecrest Properties Partners and Mayor of Pinecrest. Security for the Fuchs Mizrachi and Joseph and Florence Mandel Jewish Day Schools from 2014 to 2024. He's a certified emergency medical tech from 2005 to 2023. Mike has authored a 2014 procedure governing the efficient police response to escalating tactical incidents in a multi-jurisdictional arena that is still in use today. National Center for Early Defibrillation honoree for restarting the heart of an apneic and pulseless resident. Aliki and Peter Rezepka Leadership Award recipient for his work at the Mandel Jewish Day School as their security director in 2018. appointee to the Mandel Jewish Day School's Board of Directors in 2024. He's a two-time recipient of the Chagrin Highlands Rotary Club Officer of the Year. Mike is married to his wife of 26 years, Carrie. Wave. Whom he credits with any success he has or will ever achieve. And don't we all? They have 3 children, Jacob, a graphic designer, Grace, a Master of Accounting student at Baldwin Wallace University, Joshua, who has committed to joining the Police Academy in 2025. There is no greater honor for a parent than to have a child interested in succeeding them in their career path. Mike is the youngest of 4 siblings and the son of the late Richard Roberts and the still living and thriving Noreen Roberts, who is present tonight. Mike is proud to say that his late father, also a former police officer himself, is a hero. Is his hero. When not at work, Mike enjoys a good round of bad golf, but is happiest with his family. So, that being said, I'm going to administer the oath of office.
We have to vote.
A couple more things to do.
Right, you got it. Submitted them, you have to vote.
Obviously, this is incredibly well-deserved, as evidenced by the turnout we have here today. Does anyone else have any comments they want to submit before?
I do.
I do too.
Obviously, it's a huge testament to how amazing you are. You know, I don't think I've ever seen council chambers this full, and I see former council members, former mayor. I mean, everybody's here for you because you're awesome. They're all on the payroll, so we can. That's good. That's good. The longer we talk, the better, more you pay. I want to take a moment though to thank your family, because you have loaned us your husband, and we love him. And we really appreciate the fact that you have given up your time with him and that you will entrust him with us, and obviously all that you do for us. I'm also very, it's amazing to see all the men and women in blue, and I just want to let you know, and I'm sure that I do speak for every council member and the mayor up here, we will always support you and always have your back, all of you. So with that, thank God you're here. We're very, very happy to have you, and I will wholeheartedly vote yes for you.
Kim Stacy, I think you had some comments.
I'm going to second everything Councilwoman Olner said. Very, very true on all fronts. Mike, you've always been a friend and family to us since we moved here. We came to Orange at about the same time, and I've enjoyed the ride with you. I especially enjoyed the ride recently when we did the Shop with a Cop together, and it was such a joy to be able to sit with you and talk with you and get to know you a little bit better on a personal level. And I just want to thank you for all you have done for Orange Village already. I know all that you will continue to do for Orange Village in the future. And I know that Chief Costura left big shoes to fill, and I'm certain that those shoes are just your size. Thank you for everything.
Hi, my name is Kathy Mulcahy, and until 7 months ago, I was the mayor of Orange Village for 28 years, and I am taking it as a point of privilege to break in and speak up at a point that is not for audience members, which is all I am right now. But I had the privilege of hiring and working with this fine officer since 2004, even longer. 2001. And everything Judd said, to all the credentials, to everything, everyone's saying, I just want to test for my 23 years of watching this man grow professionally, personally, becoming a community role model and leader. This was always his destiny, and I am so proud of him. And we are a lucky community to have him, so congratulations.
Any other comments by council members? All right, Anna, it's a foregone conclusion, but please call roll.
Bilski,
Yes.
Wallner,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Madden,
Yes.
Perry, Silver.
Yes. Administer the oath. Mayor Klein will now administer the oath.
My way around here. Is right here, and I'd like to have your wife come up and join us. After I administer the oath of office, I would like for you to pin the tail on the donkey. So, with that said, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Michael Roberts,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the rules, regulations, and charter of Orange Village,
the rules, regulations, and charter of Orange Village,
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as Chief of Police of Orange Village, State of Ohio,
as Chief of Police of Orange Village, State of Ohio,
during my continuance in said office.
during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations. Sign the papers. Absolutely, but sign first. This is official then. You Sign the contract. We need both pages. There you go. Now you're official. All yours. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir. So when a day like today happens to a guy like me, the list of people to thank is long but distinguished. Mayor Klein, members of council, citizens of Orange Village, thank you for this opportunity. Your police department understands the importance of earning and maintaining your trust. It will continue to be our highest priority. We know we work for you, and we feel your support. Thank you. Mayor Mulcahy and Chief Costura, I'm grateful for the opportunity to work for the Orange Village Police Department and for the responsibilities you have entrusted to me over the years. Thank you.
Where is Chris?
My wife, Carrie, I have been the beneficiary of your selflessness for almost 3 decades. Your endearing qualities are too numerous to list, but I'm most impressed with your intellect and personality that has exactly 2 levels. Namaste, and I will cut you.
It's a woman after my own heart.
Makes sense.
Body armor comes in handy. Possess all the traits needed for success at anything you wanted to do and are now doing, but you decided to put me first along the way. In return, I have left you at restaurants, missed birthdays and holidays, consistently left you holding the bag at home, woke you up in the middle of the night when duty called, came home very late, and if that wasn't enough, I then asked if you could keep the kids quiet all day while I slept. Carrie, I'm standing here because of you. Thank you doesn't seem to cover my debt, but then again, you never made me feel the inequity. I love you. On a side note, it doesn't appear that my new role will provide much relief in our relationship, because I'm finding myself in a bit of a jam already. You don't know that is in order for her to be here at yet another All About Mike event, she had to give away tickets she purchased months ago to see Toad the Wet Sprocket and the Gin Blossoms.
What a good show.
Thank you, dear. To my 3 children, let's face it, you have done nothing for me. I'm kidding. You've shared your dad with a community of people you've never met. Change that tonight. I love everyone in this room. As duty almost always called at the most inopportune times, I was absent. Sorry, and I'm proud of you, and I love you. When I was a boy, I would ask my mom to make me paper badges in the same shape of the one on my shirt today. I would then ask her if she knew where the bad guys were, to which she almost always said, "Yes, honey, they're in the basement." Mom, we've come a long way from paper badges, and I'm certain Dad knows what's happening here tonight. Thank you. I love you. To our dispatchers in the room, thank you for doing a job I'm not able to do myself. Your mission is as difficult as it is under-recognized. You will always find a partner in me. Members of the Orange Village Patrol Division, it is a tremendous honor to address you here tonight. When I sat down to consider my remarks, a mini version of me popped up on my shoulder. He was dressed all chiefly with shiny brass everywhere and whatever these things are on my sleeve. That little guy did not disappoint. The words chiefly and eloquently flowed one paragraph after the next. When I was done proofreading it, the little chief version of me said, "You nailed it." And just as I was about to agree with the little guy, up popped another version of me. This time it was Patrolman Roberts. He had a full head of hair, and the only thing shining on that uniform was a silver badge. He read Mini Chief's remarks and said, "Bro, really? Why don't you tell them you remember your time in patrol? Tell them you know it's their work that is most responsible for the overwhelming support we feel from a grateful community. Tell them you know that sometimes their families will need them more than Orange does, and remind them that sometimes Orange will need them more than their families do. Tell them you know that their spouses and families pay a price for loving a police officer. And tell them that you are committed to reducing the home life impact on them. Tell them you know this job eventually leaves a permanent mark on each of us, and they will be supported. And tell them you remember learning everything you needed to know about leadership during your time in patrol when you led only yourself. Guys, I remember, and I know. I see the way in which you come to work and get involved, creating relationships, sharing your knowledge, and executing your mission with kindness, empathy, and skill. Your actions are contagious and will not only influence your peers and supervisors, but they will influence me as well. That influence is your voice at a table we share together as we shape the next version of the Orange Village Police Department. To our supervisory team, the burden of leadership is heavy, and the pursuit of its mastery eludes me. But if we pursue it together, our actions will prevent the building of barriers our finest words cannot penetrate. Thank you for raising your hands and committing to lead. Our blueprint is simple, but the execution is difficult and wrought with sacrifice. Rank does not infer privilege. If there's discomfort to be had, take a turn. If you work for your people will work for you. If there's rain, get wet. If there's blame, own it. If there's food, eat last. If there's praise to be had, heap it. If there's discipline to be dealt, be fair, swift, and consistent. If our people need us, show up. No one goes to the hospital alone. If their families need them, get them home. If there's jokes at your expense, laugh. If there's tears to be shed, cry together. The management of people will always be subordinate to the leadership of people. Remember, a well-led team will be running through walls for our agency, not building them. To my family, friends, and colleagues, your support is beyond humbling. Thank you for the gift of your time here today and for allowing me to call you my friends.
Conference table.
All right. Well, we would love to have everyone stay, but we understand that for those of you that were just here for that, if you do want to step out, we completely understand. We'll take a minute if anyone wants to before we proceed.
The winking lizard on Miles.
Very good. Thank you, Chief.
Now it'll be empty.
Yeah.
I've never seen it so full.
I can ask him to comment on that. Steve will comment on that. Well, the back part.
Was Costura here? Was Costura here? I didn't see him.
Yeah, but I don't see that well very far out. So that doesn't mean anything.
Chief. How are you?
Thought they'd never leave.
All right, moving on. A couple weeks ago, Janet Keeler, Director of Community Development for the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities, reached out to me asking if she could present today to give an update on some of the services that her agency provides. So I'm sorry to disappoint you that huge crowd was not for you.
Take that personally.
They're not gonna know what they missed.
They will not know what they missed. Well, I have a little folder here that you could copy probably a million times and give it to them. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good evening, Council President and members of the audience. My name is Janet Keeler, and I am the Director of Community Development at the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities. Hopefully, you're already familiar with the board and what we do, but I'd like to take a few minutes to reacquaint you with some of the services that we have. Our mission is to support and empower people with developmental disabilities to live, learn, work, and play in their communities. From birth through adulthood, we support people with DD to live their best lives. We serve more than 14,000 people with developmental disabilities in Cuyahoga County, and last year, in your wonderful Orange Village community, we served over 24. One of these residents is Daniel. Daniel attended Orange High School and graduated in 2022. He's living at home with his family, and Cuyahoga DD supported him to participate in Hattie Larlam's group employment site in Twinsburg. He's gaining valuable work experience, earning some money, and he's making lots of friends. Carolyn, Sheila, and Peggy also live together in Orange Village. They share a home and love to be out and about in their neighborhood, shopping, getting their hair done, and going out to eat. We support them by providing local dollars and drawing down federal funding for their home so they can live as safe and independently as possible. 2/3 of our $150 million budget comes from a 3.9 mil continuous levy that was last passed by Cuyahoga voters in 2005. So you'll see we're good stewards of tax dollars to still be working on a levy from 2005. And I remember I started at the board in 1996, so 28 years ago. I remember standing in Orange Village with our sign back in 2005, getting support for that levy. We provide things like early intervention services, therapies like occupational, physical, and speech therapy, transition services for young adults, housing and employment supports, and free resources to your community to maximize accessibility and inclusion, including trainings on disability etiquette. Some innovative ways we support people with DD in the communities are, in 2023, we launched a program at Cleveland State called CSU Rise, which gives students with disabilities a typical college experience while ensuring they're supported in ways that they will be successful in college and beyond. We have a workforce development team that'll work with any business to link them with eager and talented job seekers with disabilities. We partner with other youth-serving agencies like DCFS and the Adams Board and Family and Children First Council to support youth in crisis. Since 2021, we've granted $700,000 to support 50 community libraries, arts and culture organizations, and recreation and leisure organizations in making their programs more inclusive and their physical buildings more accessible to people of all abilities. This year, in 2024, we have over $200,000 allocated for community grants. As you may or may not be aware, twice we've granted money to Orange Community Education and Recreation. They received $5,000 in 2021 and $15,000 in 2023 to support high-quality, adaptive, and inclusive programming with a specific focus on art, exercise and fitness, life skills, theater, aquatics, music, community outings, and special events. We currently have a grant open right now for the purchase and installation of universal changing tables, and come January, we'll release again our next round of 4 grants. In addition to our work supporting people with disabilities in Cuyahoga County, we strive to be a resource for all communities. We would welcome the opportunity to talk more about how we can best support your Orange Village residents and the businesses and organizations in your community to be more inclusive and accessible. Thank you for your time, and I have some materials here which I'll leave for you, for anybody that's interested. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Any comments? Wait, you might want to hang up there first.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask some questions. Who do you typically engage with to figure out what projects you will be supporting or kind of moving forward with? Is it the is it the communities? Is it the schools? Is it businesses, individuals? Who are you most interacting with?
For our grants or just in general?
All of it.
Oh.
Yeah, grant. Yeah, not. But what you do with the grant dollars and where funds are needed.
So we put out 4 grants a year since 2021. One is for arts and culture organizations, one is for sports and recreation, one is for libraries, and the 4th we just started this year for physical accessibility space. And we reach out to any nonprofit that's based in Cuyahoga County, and those grants are offered to anybody who can apply for them. It's a very, very easy application process. We are not like a federal grant where you're going to have to give data and metrics at the end of the year. It's a very easy grant process. We've given things away to organizations, 4 of them this year for universal changing tables. Your building department will probably tell you some things have changed in the architectural mandates for 2024, that any new build that has more than 6, they call them water closets, has to have an adult-sized universal changing table. So we have granted 4 of those this year. We grant wheelchair charging stations. We've given money for Moby mats to make lawn and uneven terrain more manageable for people who use wheelchairs. We do lots of presentations in the schools. I supervise we have 5 people with developmental disabilities that speak on behalf of their lived experience, and they have a great time going into schools and talking to children in the elementary school about being proud of the disability and how you can be productive members of the community. So my workforce development team has relationships with businesses in the community, so we do about 90% of all the business engagement in the community, and connect. We have always over 400 job seekers with disabilities looking for work, and so we love to engage the businesses and connect those job seekers with open positions.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I'd just like to add a comment. Very familiar with the Cuyahoga County Board. My wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, was a former employee and served 26 years as the Director of Children's Services for the Lake County Board, and continues to be involved in that field. I think the work that you do is so critically important to our communities in enabling individuals with disabilities to really become a part of the community in which they live. And anything that we can do as a community to embrace that is important to us to pursue. Thank you for being here and sharing the opportunities that you have available.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
We definitely appreciate the work that you're doing, especially children or young adults, especially with learning differences, is near and dear to my heart. So.
Great. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for reaching out, and thank you for your time tonight. Moving on, is there a motion to approve the special council meeting minutes of July 3rd, 2024? Is there a second? Jeff? Any questions or comments on the July 3rd minutes? All right, Anna, please call roll.
Bilski,
Yes.
Olner,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Madden,
Yes.
Perry, Silver.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve the council meeting minutes of July 10th, 2024? Thank you, Lisa. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Phil. Any questions or comments?
Oh, I thought that was Mr. Foster.
Anna, please call roll.
Bilski,
Abstain.
Olner,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Madden, Perry,
It's on the motion?
yes.
It's on the minutes for July 10th.
Yes.
Silver.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will make a motion to ratify the settlement of and consent entry in KJI Group LLC versus Orange Village Council, Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court, case number CV-24-997846. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Stacy.
You will recall that a couple months ago, we had an executive session to discuss this case. After the executive session, the mayor directed me to enter into a settlement agreement with the plaintiffs in that This action has been challenged in the court, and this motion will just confirm that council was on board, is and was on board with the settlement of that case in that manner. So I recommend passage.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
I have something to say. So I attended the Orange Village Council meeting on May 8th, 2024, and at that meeting, the council adjourned to executive session to discuss pending or imminent litigation. As you may know, I was opposed to and voted against the variance for New Song Church property. Based upon the legal advice given by counsel, I agreed that the lawsuit should be settled. I remain opposed to the rezoning of the property, and for that reason, I am voting against the motion that ratifies the settlement of the lawsuit, because the settlement furthers the development, and I remain fervently opposed to the rezoning of the property. That said, there is nothing in this motion that is not accurate, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? All right, Anna, please call roll.
Bilski,
Yes.
No.
Foster,
Yes.
Madden,
Yes.
Perry,
Abstain.
Silver.
Yes. I will make a motion to approve the settlement agreement and release of all claims in the case of Theopolik Williams III versus Lieutenant Patrick O'Callahan et al., case number 122CV-01799, United States District Court, Northern District of Ohio, Eastern Division. Is there a second? Thank you, Jeff.
This is in furtherance of what we were talking about earlier, of police. This is the opportunity for this council to recognize and support the good work of its officers. There was an unfortunate event where an individual who had been stopped by Woodmere police ran away from that officer and encountered our officer, Patrick O'Callahan, in what is technically still Woodmere. We were providing mutual aid. When that individual raised his gun and pointed it at Officer O'Callahan, he returned fire. He hit his target, put him down, resulting in injuries. Fortunately, that individual lived, and the result of that occurrence has resulted in this litigation. While we fervently believe that Officer O'Callahan Lieutenant O'Callahan did absolutely nothing wrong, when you're in litigation, sometimes you're making a risk decision, and our insurance company has agreed to pay $227,500 to settle this case and avoid the risk of larger damages being found by a jury. In my opinion, this is a fair settlement given the risk that the parties are presented with, and I would recommend passage of this motion also.
All right, thank you. Lieutenant Callahan, you can be rest assured that we have, everyone up here has your back, 100%.
Absolutely.
Make no mistake.
Yes. Are there any other comments related to this matter?
Exactly what I was going to say. We all have your back. We all appreciate your service. We all glad you're on our team. And to the extent that I hope that you're never in such a situation again, but to the extent that you are, I hope that you do the same thing.
Thank you and your fellow officers for all you do, putting your lives on the line for each one of us every single day. Grateful.
Comments? All right, Anna, please call roll.
Bilski,
Yes.
Allner,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Madden,
Yes.
Perry, Silver.
Yes. All right, moving on. Are there any audience comments related to agenda items only? Good, please, I believe there's a sign-in sheet. Is there a sign-in sheet?
it's over there by,
Sign in.
Jim Boyle, 31399 Fairview Drive. First and foremost, I don't want to use my time, I'll do it when I'm done. First and foremost, I think it's appropriate to recognize what came before here with Chief Roberts. I mean, in terms of what I'm here to gripe about, important to me, important to the community, but make no mistake about it, what Officer O'Callahan and what Chief Roberts and their colleagues provide to this city is of vital interest to the well-being of all of us. And so I thank you guys for the work that you do. That being said, you know, I got to be honest, it's getting exhausting as a resident to try to keep up with what is going on here. And to put it mildly, and I'm not saying anything that certainly the law director and Zollner, who are the other lawyers here, this is nonsense. And what is in front of you, you don't ex post facto, you can't agree in reverse to settle something. Nor can you make decisions in executive session. You can make recommendations, you can have conversations, but all of the decisions have to be made here in open court. The matter that you just settled, you settled in advance. That's how it works. This case, somehow, we're doing it in reverse. You're coming back and saying, well, now I want you to ratify this. You don't ratify court orders. Court orders speak for themselves. They are what they are. The court's made a ruling. You can appeal it. If you don't like it, appeal it. But ratifying it doesn't exist. It's not anything that exists in this body, and nor will it exist in the court when the matter goes forward. It does not, the consent decree that your law director entered on your behalf, evidently without your approval, sounds like your approval was just granted in public today, either was done without your approval or was represented to the court that it was done with your approval, neither of which are ethically appropriate. And I've discussed this from this podium numerous times. I said, you've got to bring this back. And in some fashion, you have to bring it back and vote on it. It's not to ratify a court order. You have to vote on the variance. The problem that you have is that you've already voted on it. As Councilperson Ulmer said, you've already voted on this variance. Our charter says that you cannot, absent substantial change in circumstances, vote on the same variance. You can't. I don't know what you're trying to do. I'm not sure. It's chaotic at best, insulting to the citizens at worst, but it is not going to work. And as I filed my paperwork to intervene in the case, I still stand by that. I still object to this settlement. I still intend to move forward on the intervening. I do not consent to the resolution of this matter, and when, and hopefully soon enough, we will be asked to address that in court, we will deal with it. What you should have done, and what I thought you were going to do, was have a motion for reconsideration at the next meeting. That would have been the appropriate matter. That's how you deal with a motion that you're like, hey, we have to do this again. I asked that, and you didn't do it. But you cannot ex post facto this matter and somehow reverse engineer that this is okay. And you certainly cannot settle anything in executive session. All that being said, I think if nothing else, this situation has spurred an activism in this community that the 7 of you and the mayor should expect will shine a light on the work that you do, that the work that you do largely outside of the realm of the people will now be followed with much more, much closer eye. And I think you will find that this matter is not going to go gently in the night. There was one final thing that struck me when I reviewed some of the newspaper articles on this matter. And the law director made a comment in one of the stories about the litigation. And again, there really wasn't any litigation. They filed a notice of appeal. It's a very simple matter indicating that there's going to be appeal. There's no evidence in there. There's nothing there. It's 2 pieces of paper, quite frankly. The comment that was quoted in the paper, and Ed, I assume it's your article, but it says, there's an allegation of an ethical violation by members, plural, of council, said Byron. I don't agree that that's true, but it's part of the litigation. There's nothing in that litigation that indicates anything about an ethical violation, which leads me to believe that at some point, the law director and perhaps counsel for the developer did have a conversation about that. And that bothers me, because if there are ethical violations, they need to be addressed here. As an officer of the court, if I'm in possession or a knowledge of ethical violations, we've got an ethical duty to report those. And so if somebody made an allegation, I hope that person reported it. But if this allegation was made and is aware by our law director, that needs to be reported as well. In any event, this matter will move forward. Whether it will move forward on the ballot or whether it will move forward through the court, I don't know the answer to that, but this is by no means a settled matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Loftus, and I live at 4231 Lander Road. I'd like to begin my testimony by stating that the group opposing the rezoning proposal that you've already voted on, that the group is not against developing this property. Our objective is to see that the village maintains the existing zoning requirements as spelled out in the village master plan. My second point is to address concerns that we have become too aggressive in our efforts to stop this action. If we haven't said anything that is not true, then I apologize, and I'll do my best to make sure that falsehoods are not included in our presentation. On the other hand, if people are concerned by factual statements, then I cannot and will not ask for anyone's forgiveness. I put together the fact sheets that we have used, and to the best of my ability, I have based my statement on facts. I understand someone complained that we have maligned the developer. Well, any statements that I have made were based on the KGI website. And if you haven't seen it, I'll pass it around. You can take a look. It's a pretty document that mentions types of projects the developer has worked on, but does not list one. It also mentions working for a, quote, top-ranked multifamily developer builder, end quote. It doesn't provide a name. It wasn't until the public hearing that I heard who it was. And this document makes no mention whether KGI is bonded. That's a pretty significant issue if the village is going to take over maintenance of the improvements proposed by KGI. This brings me to the main point regarding this evening's proceedings. I admit there's been a great deal of frustration on the part of those opposing this rezoning. But this council, mayor, and law director bear a substantial amount of the responsibility. To begin, in May, council failed to pass the legislation needed to move this project forward. According to the village charter, as Jim pointed out, this should have put an end to the discussion. But the mayor and law director found a way around that pesky charter and entered into a settlement agreement with the developer with the blessing of a common pleas judge. Unfortunately, the settlement agreement was not authorized in public as required by council. It's not known if the judge in this case was even aware that council had not authorized the settlement in public. With the court ruling, the mayor was able to put this project back on track, which concluded with a public meeting, and I emphasize public. This was not the developer's meeting or the mayor's meeting. It was a public meeting. Council president spelled out the rules, including 2-minute time limit for the presentations. However, the developer was granted the opportunity to give 2-minute presentations, and the mayor was allowed to speak as long as he wanted, regardless of the fact that he could speak as long as he wanted at the council meeting following the public meeting. And finally, the village newsletter that just came out with a statement from the mayor regarding the pros of this project. As I recall, at a June planning and zoning meeting, this question was raised whether the mayor and council could campaign for passage of this zoning issue. The answer was an emphatic no. However, when I look at this newsletter, it certainly looks like a campaign document to me. In closing, I would just like to remind you once again that you represent the citizens of Orange Village, not the developers, not the realtors.
We represent the best.
And if you detect some frustration on our part, consider carefully your actions that have brought us to this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments, audience comments related to agenda items? Right, moving on to, we have no old business. Moving on to new business, ordinance 2024-14, an ordinance to adopt and implement the procedures under Chapter 5722 of the Ohio Revised Code to facilitate the reutilization of non-productive land situated in the Village of Orange and declaring an emergency. This is on for the first reading. Mayor, did you want to speak to this?
Sure. This piece of legislation is something that I came to realize that we could have an opportunity to take land through the land bank. As some of you may recall, we were able to acquire, we're in the process of acquiring a piece of property through the Cuyahoga County Land Bank that we had to pay for, albeit pretty reasonably. But in the process of doing that, I discovered that we could establish our own land bank and thereby get land directly from the courts without having to go through the county land bank to accomplish it. So I asked the law director to put together language that would enable us to do that. And what we have before us tonight is a piece of legislation that reflects the language of the county land bank process that we would then have available to us if and when property does become available through foreclosure actions, that they can then be brought directly to the village, and then we can use them for municipal purposes, parks and other green space. And I understand there are a couple properties that may fall into this sometime yet this year, and it gives us an opportunity to acquire these properties at no cost to the village.
Do other communities have their own land bank set up that you know of?
That I know of, and this isn't.
Some do.
Some do.
Some do.
But not, there are not very many of them.
Any questions or comments? Lisa?
Yeah, I just want assurance that it wouldn't be used for resale or development or...
Well, once the property would go into the land bank, council would have the authority in the disposition of the property as to what the next steps would be.
in changing the zoning
No, this has nothing to do with zoning.
This has nothing to do with.
process to rezone? Okay,
So
thank you.
could we, in theory, if there's a property in foreclosure, we could obtain it and then sell it to someone that could buy that house and move into it, or knock down that house and build a new one, or?
Put it up for bid or whatever.
Okay,
Yeah, theoretically, yeah.
okay.
Because I'm the beneficiary of that.
Phil?
When I read this ordinance, that I knew we had talked about a land bank, but the words aren't here. Can they be there? I mean, we might be clear to the
Get a memo out that I have that describes the statutory process, because all we're doing in the ordinance is incorporating the statutory process, and I think the memo would be helpful to understanding. So, I recommend putting this on first reading and not taking action tonight until everybody has better understanding.
Yeah, this is first reading. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't recommend suspending the rules.
Yeah, I didn't plan on that.
Yeah, I don't think we asked for suspension.
Right.
Plan on it.
For
Yeah.
suspension.
Any other questions? Okay. Moving on, ordinance 2024-15, an ordinance amending section 933.01B to revise the fees to be charged to residents and non-residents for emergency medical services, repealing certain ordinances, and declaring an emergency. This is on for first reading. As far as I can tell, we're basically adding a fee of $300 to emergency response not resulting in transportation of a patient to the hospital. Is that correct? Can you step up to the mic?
Would you like to speak to this one?
Please don't expect me to get dressed up every time. This is something that's newer in the realm of ambulance billing. Not every insurance company reimburses for these non-transport calls, including Medicare and Medicaid. However, speaking with our billing company, more and more insurance companies are coming on board with these reimbursements. This is basically if our paramedics respond to a call for medical need, render care, and that a patient refuses or does not want transportation to the hospital in the ambulance and they sign the refusal for transport, that is basically to help reimburse costs for fees personnel, much like we would do the same thing and then transport to the hospital. So it's just another way to help recoup some of the costs incurred by the fire department.
Prior to this, there was no fee for incidences of this type.
Correct.
You said that you can, that the person can apply to their insurance to pay that?
That's correct.
And the insurance companies do acknowledge that?
Some insurance companies do, not all of them. So if somebody is sent, we soft bill our residents. So if they get that bill and, payment is not made, there'll be reminders set out, but it's not something that is actively pursued.
Two questions.
In the ordinance, it's been a long time.
Correct.
This was originally enacted in 2005. The treasurer shall use best efforts to collect any insurance, Medicare or Medicare payments, but not from taxpayers of the village. The village taxpayers are already paying for the service.
Correct.
Through their
Taxes?
taxes. And so we have carved out, in accordance with what Medicare regulations require, we send out bills. We do not collect, we do not pursue active collection against residents.
First question, just to clarify that. And then the second thing is, where it says per mile, $16 per mile traveled outside of the municipal corporation limits. Are we just talking about Orange, or like what if you're going to Ahuja or something just outside?
Correct. It's transportation from the residents, wherever we're at, to the hospital. That,
Once it gets outside the Orange limit, that's when the mileage begins?
no, it's from,
No, that's the way the billing handles it, is there's a calculation done. The billing folks know the distances, so if you're hitting the freeway and going up to.
Versus main campus.
Exactly.
That part's
the
not.
fees are higher if we go downtown or up to Hillcrest versus whether we transport to Ahuja.
So that's new.
Stacey, that part's not new. That's how it is.
Like that's, yeah.
Okay.
Are the prices that are listed, have these been updated, or these are the current prices?
They were recently updated, I think, last year. And speaking with our billing company, they're in line with industry standards.
2022 is when they were
2022, excuse me, yeah. They're still in line with,
standard.
yes.
Does anyone reach out to residents to let them know that if their insurance doesn't pay it, that they're not going to be on the hook?
Nobody directly from the fire department, no. Any communication regarding billing goes to the billing company. They handle all of that. So if there are questions, they let them know that.
I'll take it offline with you, but my experience is they do not.
All right, any other comments? Okay, moving on. Are there any audience comments relating to matters which advance the good of the village?
Do we not say our name anymore? We just sign it?
Do both, please.
Okay. Amanda Curlin, 150 Valencia Circle. And for the good of the village, I'm going to say first, congratulations to Michael Roberts on becoming the chief of police, well-deserved. And congratulations to Orange Village on getting Michael Roberts to be chief. Thank you. That's all.
See if that one works.
Moving on, comments. Mayor Klein, comments?
Oh, thank you. To begin with, again, I want to congratulate Mike Roberts on his elevation to chief in the past 7 months that I've worked with him as the mayor. I've come to know him as an incredibly valuable officer and leader in our community, and look forward to working with him in the future as he's developed their strategy and tactics for the future of the Orange Village Police Department. I'll talk to you about the other. Second, following the public hearing on Thursday evening, there were some confrontations in our hallway and in the parking lot following the meeting. Irrespective of whether an individual is in support of or against the issue that is before the council for consideration, I believe it's important that we as a community of neighbors maintain our caring for our neighbors by acting responsibly, considering others' opinions, and respecting those opinions without trying to be intimidating. We, at the end of the day, regardless of how this project works out, we all still live in this community together. And it's important to me, and I think to all of you, that we continue to live in this community collectively in respect and appreciation of one another. And regardless of what happens going forward, whether there's campaign or meetings or lawsuit or whatever it might be, we still need to treat each other with respect and consideration. There is no place, I think, in this community for intimidation. Everyone is entitled to their opinion and should be willing to share it freely and openly without feeling intimidated by doing so. So I ask that going forward, the members of our community act appropriately with decorum and consideration when we have public meetings and other situations where there's discussion, to allow for a free and fair discussion of issues that benefit the community or are in opposition to those ideas. On Monday morning, on a different subject, on Monday morning I was awakened to calls and texts from our fire and police departments informing me of a major house fire underway on Brainerd Road. I want to express my sincere appreciation and thank you to our fire, police, and service departments who pitched in to minimize the destruction. I also want to express our appreciation for the members of our community who stepped up to support the family who was displaced by this fire. Both the local Kiwanis Club and those who set up a GoFundMe account provided invaluable immediate support, which I believe is emblematic of our Orange Cares attitude. Third item, the Orange Farmers and Artisan Market, which was held a couple weeks ago, was a wonderful success, and it will be presented again on August 17. It will also include a children's coloring contest to be displayed at Village Hall following the event. So I hope if you have kids or grandkids, you might bring them up and allow them to participate. And finally, Roniak will be starting full and partial depth repairs on Pike Drive starting at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow, August 8th. Not sure how long it will take. However, after that, they will be doing White Drive, and there is no base repairs needed on Oxford Court, and anticipate paving to commence on Monday the 12th. Expect delays on Pike, and White Drive will be closed again once they start there. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Just want to say congratulations once again to Chief Roberts. Question for Bob Zugan. Is there any update on the Miles Road water main repair?
Actually spoke to Solon a couple weeks ago. I received a text from them the other night too, which I'll fill you in after this. But anyways, it's still in process with Burgess Nipel doing the design work. I was told a couple weeks ago that the agreement between us and the city of Solon would be forthcoming again, which will come into end up in planning and zoning to review that agreement with them, and then certainly move that down the road where it will become part of the water service agreement as a asset to Orange Village. But that will follow through. But in talking with City Solon too, the mayor and myself were informed earlier too that we applied for a 50-50 grant through the county, and we were notified, and this was for specifically Miles Road. We were awarded $250,000 towards the repaving of that project. So the plan is right now that Miles Road water main hopefully will start in 25. It'll sit out the remaining while the trench gets time to settle in, and then we will anticipate paving in 26, which it falls under that 50-50 grant or 50-50 award by the county. So at that time, we'll also, though, take a look in whether it's advisable, whether we'd go all the way down to the Moreland Hills Corp line and have Miles Road as a complete project and done, and get it under our belts.
Really been any issues east of like Harper Road, I would say, right? I feel like it's
No,
all been.
no, water main, no, and that's the water main, the water main, just a reminder that it's going from the Bedford Heights, Warrensville corporate limit, all the way to Harper Road. Everything else is fine. There is 2 lines there. You have the regular 12-inch service line, and then you have the larger high-volume one, which specifically is there to run down Harper Road and serves one of CWD's largest user, which is Stouffer's.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. Comments by council members. Mr. Bilski.
I will also congratulate Chief Roberts on his new appointment. I'll also add to what the mayor alluded to. I was also one of the recipients of some choice words at the end of our meeting the other night. I appreciate you gentlemen's candor this evening and the way you handled yourselves up here. And as Judd kind of alluded to, we are a community, and we all got to voice our opinions last week at that public hearing, and we should all, there were kids sitting in the room, which was interesting. And as I was thinking about my 3 little kids and what they would have thought if they were looking around to see everybody on both sides and the way everybody was acting, again, it was just important. We all are always mindful of the way we act, the way we speak to each other, and that's all I'll say. So, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Olner.
Well, like everyone, I will congratulate Chief Mike Roberts once again. I'm absolutely thrilled to have him at the helm. We are very lucky. And Chief Roberts and our entire police force will always have my unwavering support, as will our fire department. I want to thank Anna. This seems like it was so long ago, and maybe my memory's wrong, but I don't think we've had a meeting since the Orange Party in the Park, did we? Or did I mess up? I don't think we did.
Well, last week, but if you don't count
Well,
that.
I wasn't.
Release, yeah.
I wanted to thank you because you put in a lot of hard work. It was an amazing event, and I really appreciate all of your work. I thought the drone show, which frankly I'd never heard of, was really cool. And I think that those who attended had a wonderful time. All the feedback I got from people who were there was great. I do want to suggest that Orange consider moving the event to September after school has started and more people are back in town, so that more residents can take advantage of the wonderful event. And additionally, moving to the fall would mean that the drone show would not have to be so late at night, which will accommodate our youngest residents' bedtimes. I felt like some of the young kids were taken home because it was getting kind of late, and it was a really cool show. So it's just my 2 cents. It was an amazing event, but I think if maybe we could consider moving it, it would be a good thing. Okay. At the hearing regarding the New Song Church property, there were a number of individuals on both sides who are clearly passionate about the issue. I was disappointed, and that's using it very lightly, to see such disrespectful behavior during the hearing and after. Shouting to shut off the mic for numerous speakers with whom someone disagrees is not acceptable. I am asking for everyone to respectfully engage in dialogue about the issue, but perhaps take it down a notch. We are all neighbors, and the behavior I witnessed was not necessary or neighborly. I was, however, heartened to see the amazing community support of an Orange family who did suffer a terrible house fire last week. The morning of the fire, I personally went over to the scene, was happy to learn that all of our amazing first responders and the family were not physically hurt. And I want to thank our firefighters especially, who do not hesitate to put their lives at risk to serve all of us. And every firefighter there, police officer there who I saw, the most amazing professionalism, really my utmost respect and gratitude for their work. I also did coordinate with several Kiwanis members to open our clothing barn from the rummage sale so the family could get some clothes. The GoFundMe has raised quite a bit of money, and our community has generally been very supportive. No family should have to go through this. This is, to me, the way that we should be treating one another as neighbors. And that's more of the behavior that I would like to see personally. Obviously no house fires, but just supporting one another. There's no doubt. There is no doubt that I vehemently disagree with respect to the New Song Church property with our mayor and several other council members. but we are able to have civil conversations to discuss our disagreements. I'm new on council, and I'm still learning my ways. But I do believe that all elected officials, myself included, all of us, need to behave in such a way that there is not even the appearance of an impropriety. Total transparency is not always possible, but we should be as transparent as possible. I believe that the frustration felt by some of our residents is because of the communications and what is seen as a lack of transparency. I am simply urging all of our members up here, all of us, myself included, I don't hold anyone to a higher standard than myself, that we revisit the way we have handled this as well as other things, and that we do try to be more transparent. And it's interesting that one of our speakers mentioned this, and as an attorney, I did notice this. And again, I'm learning my way. I don't know who's responsible for this. I don't know whose job this is, but somebody needs to take this on. I noticed it last year when I really started attending meetings. Orange Council has a habit of ratifying things after the fact. As an attorney, in my experience, that is not the way we do things. I don't know how councils do it. Maybe that is normal. Maybe that is what councils do. Again, I'm learning. I'm going to respectfully request that someone take responsibility to ensure that things are brought to council in advance. That's the way I'm used to operating. That's, to me, transparency, and that, to me, is required. I will leave that for further discussion offline, but to me, that is a problem, and it's emblematic. It's happened in many instances. I saw it last year, too. On another matter, I recently learned that the ordinance which allows a council member to attend a meeting virtually and vote remotely via Zoom places the decision-making power into the sole discretion of the council president. And let me be clear, I would be asking for what I'm asking for no matter who is in the role of council president, even if I were in it. This is not a statement about anyone personally, okay? I want to make a motion to direct our law director to amend that ordinance such that the decision-making as to whether a council member may attend and vote remotely is made by a majority vote of the remaining members of council, that those members must find good cause for such request. I trust that council members will be fair with one another and consider that we all do the best that we can to tend to our duties on council. I do not think it appropriate that this decision be left to the sole discretion of the council president. For the record, and I say this because I was the sole no vote, and so somebody might imply something. I would have voted to allow Stacy to attend remotely and vote remotely because I think it's important that all of our council members have the opportunity to be heard and to listen. So that would have been my vote had I been asked. I wasn't asked because that's not our current process. I am now making a motion that we direct our law director to amend that ordinance such that that decision is taken out of the hands of the council president and put into the hands of the majority of the remaining members of council for good cause. And I had a discussion with our law director about this previously and was informed that that is something that would be common and not an unusual request.
You have made a motion.
Yes.
Is there a second to her motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. I have a question. So are you thinking that in each instance, all of council would have to, if someone is requesting to attend by Zoom, each time that comes up, they'd have to obviously do it in advance, and the council would vote each time to approve that person's request?
I believe so. Maybe our law director could give some insight as to how it's done elsewhere, but to me, what seems reasonable is, I'm using you as the example, and I apologize. This is not personal. Mrs. Vincent knew that she was not going to be here. That was known in advance. I believe it was good cause. I think everybody else here probably would have as well. I don't think it's a horrible thing to let people know what's going on and for the remaining members to then vote on it transparently for the public to see that the cause, I don't know if that has to be revealed, if it's private, or I don't know that, about that. We, I guess, have to have some, I have to learn about that. But certainly the vote, I think, should be public.
I was just trying to get clarity of how you think this should work, so.
Or in advance, because if we have them, there may be a gap in between. So 24 hours a week, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, it would have to be at a meeting, right? We would have to approve.
Yeah, how can you vote for that?
For council to take action to approve something like that, it would have to be at a meeting.
Yeah.
And the way you could imagine, I mean, you can, we've had COVID situations where people couldn't attend. You could have somebody call in to the council president and say, I can't make it, I have COVID. Could council please vote to allow me to attend remotely? And if the majority votes yes, then it happens. The drafting of it was done at the direction of the previous council president.
Two presidents ago.
Previouses ago, when Brandon was council president. And he didn't want the hassle of having to arrange everything ahead of time, so he wanted to be able to have flexibility, and that was the reason to vest the authority in the council president. There certainly, all of council gets to control what happens at council meetings, ultimately. You guys are in charge. There is a common understanding that the council president is vested with authority to do things administratively or relative to telling the clerk of council what to do, legislative action to bring to council and that sort of thing. And if other members of council want a piece of legislation such as this one, you have to make a motion in a second. If the council president or the mayor doesn't say this is, go ahead and do that one. So, it's sort of an administration of council, so it's not unheard of that a council president would do it, but there's nothing wrong with vesting the entire authority in a motion to council. Certainly when you excuse someone, you do it by motion and vote to excuse somebody when they're not in attendance. So it would be consistent with that policy choice, but it's really up to you as to how council gets run.
So when this was set up by Brandon, the language was intentional where it would vest the power with the president and not with council.
Because
that was his
I think,
preference.
I think that was, his concern was that there would be things that could happen, another outbreak of COVID or whatever, and you couldn't get people together via in person. So if the council president has the authority to do it, then that call can be made by him to the council clerk and say, let's set this up by Zoom. So I think there was a practical concern that if you don't have it set up ahead of time, you could have a meeting that's called and
not enough people.
Suddenly there are not enough people there to, approve it, by motion. I don't know. I haven't thought through all of the details, but there are other considerations. When you add the layer of council approval, it means you have to get together and have a vote. That's all.
Okay.
Just as an additional thought here to this, it would seem to me that if an individual could not attend a meeting and would request to be included electronically, that could be set up by the clerk of court, irrespective of whether council could then approve at the meeting that person could participate.
Yeah, and with the understanding if council voted no, you got to turn off the connection. That's
Fine.
yeah.
That's
Or the person's not allowed to vote.
Yeah, they could be on.
Okay. They could be on, but they could watch the live stream that's available anyways. Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, so we have a motion, we have a second, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Anna, please call.
Bilski,
Yes.
Allner,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Foster,
yes.
Madden,
Yes.
Perry. Yes. Silver.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, hope to have that to you for next week.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, Ms. Olner?
I think that was enough for me. That was a lot.
Ms. Vincent?
I won't say more on that one, but I just want to thank everyone once again for listening. I did go through the proper channels as it was written to let people know I would be virtual. I could say for the record now, moving my son for life. He started his career in Virginia, and we purposely set this time up well in advance, long before any of this came up, because I'm proud of my record of not having missed a council meeting in 5 years that I've been a member of council, and have attended most, all planning, zoning, and finance, even when I wasn't a member of that committee. I take this job very seriously, and that's why when this came up after we had already made those plans, and we purposely made them in between when we knew council meetings would be before this came up, I had no choice but to be there at the time, and it was too important a meeting to miss. So I thank you for allowing me to be able to speak at that time. I also want to say a huge congratulations to Chief Mike Roberts. I know he'll be amazing, just as he always has been. I also want to give a huge shout out to all who participated in any way in both the Kiwanis Rummage Sale and the Orange Farmers and Artisans Market. I am so very proud to be affiliated with both organizations. The Kiwanis Rummage Sale, which also happened since our last meeting, made $21,000 plus to help children in our district and all around the globe. Kiwanis' first meeting of the year will be at the Senior Center on August 21st. I would invite everybody to consider joining this outstanding organization coming to that meeting. As the mayor said, the debut of the Orange Farmers and Artisans Market was such a huge success. We've had many people already asking if we could do it every week, which was sort of our intent for next year. But it was just so great. The weather was perfect. The facility was amazing. The vendors were amazing. And we had so many people there checking out all the vendors and purchasing that a lot of our vendors actually ran out of their baked goods and items. So they'll bring more of this next time coming up. Included in this next time, if you're interested, we have the Honey Guy coming, Plum City Designs, and a flower vendor, among others. If you or anybody you know creates their own home goods, they can consider being a vendor. If not, please swing by to check it out. Tell all your friends. There's definitely something for everyone there. We're also looking for a few musicians to perform. Last time I was there with my little boombox walking around, and music was coming out of my bag, which clearly intrigued a lot of the kids, wondering how that was happening. But we would like to have some live musicians there. So if you know of anybody that might be interested in volunteering their time and their talent, let me know. Construction projects are still underway at Orange High School in an effort to get everything completed by the week school starts. Convocation Day is August 19th, and classes begin that Thursday for those in grades 1 through 12. Hard copy calendars are now available, one per family, please. They may be picked up at central office or at any of the building scheduled pickup or events that are coming up in the next few weeks. You can check out the digital calendar online to know what some of those events are. If you are an alum or a former staff member, you are encouraged to return for the upcoming Centennial Weekend, now a little more than a month away at the end of September. Please fill out the survey on the Orange School website to let the school and alums know how, where, and in what capacity you would like to participate. Orange School staff, former staff, and alums are encouraged to come to the next Alumni Association meeting, which is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Central Office if you'd like to have a hand in planning any events. More hands make less work for everybody and make it that much better. The next school board meeting is this Monday, August 12th at 6 for any who might want to attend. Planning and Zoning Committee met yesterday. The committee approved a 1 foot setback, a little over 1 foot setback modification for an Orange Lake home and a new addition to a White Oak Trail home. We also heard from the first potential occupant of the commercial area of the Orange Place South development. A preliminary design for the building only was approved for Tor Orthodontics. The committee will be looking for more specifics from Omni before moving forward. At this point, the August 20th Planning and Zoning Committee meeting has been canceled. I don't think there were any changes today that came up. Please note to everybody, there is an August 14th public hearing at 7 p.m. here for anyone wishing to comment on the variances that have been approved by Planning and Zoning and will come before council regarding the Orange Plaza that will allow for an ATM and the removal of an additional 7 parking spots. That would necessitate a variance, and if you have any questions about that, you can ask me, you can ask our mayor, but there is a hearing on that next week. So just to let everybody know, that's at 7 o'clock. I received an email from a resident of Pike Drive who is concerned about the growing number of unleashed dogs out on the trails and in our park and playground. I just want to remind everybody that Orange Village requires dogs to be on leashes, no matter their size, for the safety of everyone, including the dogs. The resident suggested adding additional signage, reminding people of this requirement, something we can talk about it. And it probably would be a good idea to state this again in the newsletter and or the next phone or e-blast that the mayor does. I want to thank the resident for her suggestions, and I very much appreciated her very thoughtful note. And one final thought, which has been mentioned already, we are all painfully aware of the fire that consumed the house of one of our Orange Village families who thankfully are safe. I am proud to have coached one of the two incredible daughters in that family and have known this wonderful family for many years. What happened to their home was awful, but the outpouring of support from our amazing rescue squads and those of our neighboring towns, the community which banded together to provide for this family, the generosity of Kiwanis members when I let them know of the situation initially, and the love that just came shining through speaks absolute volumes about what our Orange Village community truly is all about. Ben Franklin said, "Well done is better than well said." We may not always agree on everything, but the beauty of coming together as a community to help one of our own families is the most important thing we do. So I say thank you to all.
All right, thank you. Mr. Foster.
I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming. I enjoy the participation and learning, but as a military guy, public discourse and maintaining public discourse is very important and near and dear to my heart. So please, let's just treat everybody with respect, whether we agree or disagree. I salute Captain Roberts. He's been a great guy ever since I've met him, and Chief and the fire guys have been the same.
I'm going to add my congratulations to Michael Roberts, and I don't think I have any other comments.
Thank you. Mrs. Perry.
Great. I'd like to congratulate Mike Roberts, too, on being our new chief. One other thing I want to bring up is that it concerns me. I've heard now 2 different residents say that the newsletter seemed somewhat biased. And when the newsletter started being developed a long time ago, council had an opportunity to have a column and a short space to talk about their opinions and their thoughts of legislation and things like that too. So I would just know that no one here remembers that. I remember that, and I want to put out there that the newsletter is a vehicle that council members can use. We used to all have like a little column. The mayor usually gave a report, but it fell off. The council people fell off because what the mayor was saying was pretty much in agreement. It was more informational about the things going on in Orange Village. But we could also bring that back and have an opportunity for council people to, if they want to give a report of their own, from their perspective, to have that opportunity to do that in the newsletter.
I would appreciate that. I think that would be a very good thing. As a newer council member, I did not feel that I had any opportunity to give any input into the community survey, and I do not feel like I have any opportunity to give any input into that newsletter. And I do hear from residents, as I think everybody here probably does, and I do think that it would be a good thing.
Is that something that before it goes out, you could send an email to council, see if there's anything that's included?
in there?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
The newsletter is basically put together every other Tuesday. So, there is always room for more. And if anyone, irrespective of whether they're council people or residents, want to contribute something, it would be welcome.
It's very good. I also did hear a number of complaints from people about this most recent one. So I don't know if anything can or should be done to present another side on that issue, or if we should just let it drop and maybe everybody should just sleep on that. But I heard from a lot of people.
Mrs. Perry, anything else? Okay.
Well, thank you all for covering the farmer's market report. I was going to do that, but thank you.
We'll get you the next time. You can do the report on the next one.
Be in town for the
Oh.
next one.
Sorry.
You'll have to hit Stacy.
I won't either. That's dropping the other son off at college.
All right, that is all for the agenda items. I will make a motion to adjourn the special council meeting of August 7th, 2024. Is there a second?
Second.
Anna, please call roll.
Bilski,
Yes.
Allner,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Foster, Madden,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Silver.
Yes. Meeting is